going to be a recipe that I have been requested a long time ago to do. Somebody saw it in my vlog that I was making it, so they requested for me to make it, so I'm making it for you. Today is going to be calabacitas rellenas de queso. Did you know that? It's squash filled with cheese, Mexican cheese, so calabacitas. If you go to your grocery store, you're going to look for calabacitas or Mexican squash, and that's what you're going to get. I will show you the ingredients right now. They're very quick, 30 minutes to cook approximately. I will accompany it with stream rice. That also takes very little to do. So it's a very quick dinner that you can make, and it's very delicious, and it has nutrition, and it's another way that you can give your toddlers or your kids vegetables. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with cooking, and hopefully you guys like it. So let's go. To do this calabacitas, you obviously need the Mexican squash calabacitas. I don't know, I've seen it calabacitas. That's like, I'll write it right here. I'm gonna make 6, so I like preferably you would want the biggest ones, so more cheese fits in there. I like that with queso fresco, which is el mexicano casero. It looks like this. I like this one better than like mozzarella or any other one. With that, this mainly, that's your dish. Then right here in water, we have the chile. We have 2 tomatoes and 2 types of chile. Those are these ones, which is chile guajillo, which is this big one. And then we have the little ones, which is chile de árbol. Is this little ones right here. And I use 5 of these big ones and about 10 of these little ones because they're so tiny, just to give them a little punch of spiciness. That's the ones I chose. These little tiny ones. Chile de árbol, chile guajillo. And then we put it in water to boil with some tomatoes. Luna had a bite of that one, that's why it looks like that. So we'll wait till those are nice and soft and simmered. And then we're going to be blending it with some garlic in our blender. But while that happens, we're going to go ahead and prepare our calabacitas right here. So now that we have our calabacitas over here, we're also going to need some toothpicks, and these toothpicks are going to help us like adhere the top of the canoe you will see right now. And first we're going to go ahead and cut our cheese. I'm going to go ahead and open it over here. Since I have 6 calabacitas, squashes, however you say it, I like them packed with cheese. So I'm just going to go ahead and make, so see, those are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these 2 ends will cover in one and the other one will not. Look at the cheese. This is kind of like the cheese they use on, if you ever have eaten street corn. That's what it is. So now what we're going to do is going to cut our calabacitas. We're going to make 2 incisions right here. We're going to cut the tails on both sides, so we have water going through it and actually cooking, you know. And right here in the middle, we're going to make a little cut just like this, and then try to, when you cut, try to cut it inside so it comes out like a lid like this. Now, let me get a spoon really quick. Now here on this part in the inside, I usually just make a little bit, like some cuts like this, so it's easier for me to scoop out the inside of the calabacita, which is kind of like, I think they're like seeds or something, like the part of the little squash here. So we're going to go ahead and scoop all that up. Just like that. Scoop it, scoop it. Have a nice little hole for the cheese. Not too deep that you're going all the way to the other side of the calabacita. Right here, I cut it in a way that it actually make a little curve, but if it doesn't have a curve, you go ahead and like make a little bit of a curve, so when you put it back, you have space. So for this one, let's say I'm going to put these 2 pieces of cheese, or like this piece of cheese and a little bit of this other one, right about that. So I cut it enough that everything fits in here nice and cozy, just like so. Now when we have that, we go ahead and bring our lid. Remember which side it goes to, so you seal it the same way. Then you get your toothpicks. Ooh, that cheese is coming out. You get your toothpicks, grab your toothpicks, and then insert it. That is grabbing both the lid and like the main house. I call them canoes, but in my mind, just like that. Just like so. And whenever we have all of our calabacitas, we're gonna go ahead and use a pot that is big enough, like deep enough for our calabacitas and our chile to go in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing the rest of them. So now we have all of our calabacitas already done and ready. Of course, when like we're gonna cook them with the toothpicks. When you plate them, of course, you're going to take out the toothpicks. We're gonna put it in our pot right here. But first, we're going to go ahead and put our chiles in the blender and blend. And I'm going to add 1 clove of garlic. Of course, you could have added there, but I didn't. You do whatever you please when it's time for you to cook. So I added there to the thing, and I'm going to go ahead and put all of my hot ingredients in here. Woo, woo. Ah, hotness! There it is. I'm just gonna let it stay for a little bit so all the steam comes out. While that happens, over here, I will add the salt later on to over here, because I don't want it to be too salty, because my cheese does have salt in it. So we're gonna go ahead and put our pot on the bigger burner, and we're going to simply put our calabacitas in there. Obviously, with the toothpicks facing up, they will stay 30 minutes in the cooking, and then you can plate it. And I have cut the rest of the cheese here in little cubes, that almost when it's time, or when you're going to serve, before you're going to serve, you dump those little cheeses right on the chile, and it'll taste really nice. And we're gonna accompany it with some steamed rice over here that we're going to make, and I'm also going to show you what I do with it so it comes out nice. But we're going to go ahead and blend our chile now. When we're going to put it over here on our pot, we're actually going to use a strainer, one of these puppies. Can you see it? So we don't get all the chili chunks in our chile as well. So you'll see right now, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my stove to medium-high heat, and voila. And we're going to put our strainer right here, and then throw in our chile right in our strainer. My strainer is kind of big, so I can put a lot of it. And then I'm going to swivel, 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 or just jiggle it like this for you guys to, so you guys could see. And let me zoom in the action. And you see, we have all of the seeds and all the junky part of the chile. You're welcome to just dump it in there, but you're going to deal with the seeds when if you didn't seed out the chiles. You can also seed the chiles. That means like take out the seeds from the chile before you cook it. I forgot to do that, so that's why I'm using the strainer over here. And let me just dump the rest of what I have in here. And we're going to add about 2 cups of water to our stuff over here, so we actually have some type of chile going on, right? Right now we just have like a sauce in there. Can you see? It's like a saucy. Also, to get advantage of all the chili here, when I add my water, I also run it one more time through the chiles over here, so I get all the goodness and the flavor from the chili inside of my water. And we're left with just 1 cup of chili, and then our pot is now fuller with salsa over here. So we're going to go ahead and cook it now. We cover it. And almost before all the time, the 30 minutes is over, we're going to add the cheese that we have. So now, let's turn over to this side where I have my pot over here with for my steamed rice. And I'm going to show you what I do here with the rice. So my thing here, it only has 2 functions. So it says cook and warm. So it would only it will cook it and turn to warm by itself when it's done. And it also had this little thing. So I'm going to make 2 cups for us to cook. So that's 1. And 2. And for that, I make double the water for the 2 of the rice. So that means 4 of water. So we'll have, we'll have 1. 4. And I do have a filter over here. I'm not putting hose water. I do have a filter, so don't be thinking things. And then I will add a half a teaspoon of salt to my rice to make it taste like kind of like the Chinese sticky rice, even though it's not sticky. I put in my salt, and then I make sure I mix it in really well so the salt is incorporated in all the rice. I cover it and let it to cook. This is a very quick dinner that you can make right away.